Hello all you geeks and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel and to another collection showcase video. It's safe to say that 2024 has been a pretty epic year for adding to my horror collection, so I thought I'd make a sort of 2024 wrap up video, taking a look back on all the killer, pun intended, collectibles that I've managed to acquire over the past 12 months. From limited edition and rare figures, to life-size display pieces, and even an actual real horror movie prop, and everything in between. This is my horror collection haul of 2024. Now without further ado, let's dive into the spooktacular collectibles I've added to the collection this year. So we're going to kick things off with a handful of physical media releases that I picked up this year, including these two awesome documentaries courtesy of Gary Smart and Christopher Griffiths of Dead Mouse Productions. Firstly, we have Pennywise, the Story of It, which is a fantastic documentary about the making of the original 1990 miniseries starring Tim Curry, and I absolutely love the artwork on the slipcover. If you haven't checked this one out yet and you're a Pennywise fan, I could not recommend it enough. And we've also got Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story, which I've not actually checked out just yet, but I'm more than excited to do so. And this also features some stunning artwork on the slipcover too. So a big shout out to the guys over at Dead Mouse Productions for sending these over to me. I really appreciate it. They also threw in this really cool book that includes a ton of never before seen behind the scenes photos and interviews with the cast and crew, making for a comprehensive and detailed look into the making of the horror classic. Again, I could not recommend picking up these documentaries enough if you haven't already and checking them out. And now I've got a couple of box set releases that I picked up from Arrow Video that I was eyeing up for quite a while. And it's these box sets of The Ring and the Ju-On The Grudge collection. I am a big fan of Japanese horror movies, and I really wanted to own both of these staples of the genre in my collection, as well as check out the other entries in both of these franchises. So when I saw that Arrow Video had these available, I more or less picked them up right away. The Ju-On movies in particular are some of my all-time favourite scary movies, and in complete honesty, they're the only movies that really get under my skin for some reason. There's something about these films, in particular Ju-On the Curse, that really strikes fear into me and has imagery that lingers in my mind after every viewing. I feel like most horror fans aren't really scared of anything due to desensitization, but I do feel like we all have that one kind of Achilles heel, and Ju-On is mine. Let me know what movies personally freak you out in the comments below. Also, if you guys collect physical media and want to get your hands on some new releases, in the description of this video you can find a link to the Arrow Video website, and if you use my code REALHORROR at the checkout, you'll get a 10% discount on your order. This also includes releases that are already on sale too, so yeah, I got you guys. And as usual, Arrow did an amazing job with both of these releases. They're definitely my favourite company to do it, and their stuff is just excellent. And the final pieces of physical media that I added to the collection this year are definitely the most unique, as they are actually VHS tapes. And yes, they play. These are courtesy of the company Vice Press, who I love, and they're bringing VHS back to the collector's market with their Vice Press home video collection. And as you can see, these two tapes here are Dario Argento's much loved 1977 film Suspiria, and these releases are absolutely stunning. The first is the collector's edition that comes in this clamshell case featuring art by John J. Pearson on one side and the original theatrical artwork on the other. And this other tape is a cardboard slipcase variant that again features beautiful artwork from John J. Pearson. However, the tape itself displays this awesome red and black design that is a perfect representation of the vivid colours seen in the film. Both of these copies of Suspiria are compatible with both UK and USA VHS players and are still available on the Vice Press website, but due to being limited to just 500 copies each, they're extremely close to being sold out. So I'll leave a link in the description of this video in case any of you guys want to pick up a copy before they're gone. And in addition to the Suspiria tapes, Vice Press also sent me this now sold out limited edition VHS release of my all-time favourite movie, Evil Dead 2: Dead by Dawn. I'd like to think that someone over at Vice Press knows just how much I love the Evil Dead movies, especially Evil Dead 2, and this was an extremely kind and incredible surprise for me. The slipcase on this one features some unreal artwork by the great Matt Ferguson and Flory, and it just kicks ass. Also, the scribbled out Cabin Vacation 86 on the label is a really nice touch. And to top it all off, this is a limited edition copy of just 250, as the VHS itself is completely blood splattered. I can't say how thankful I am to Vice Press for this one, and I just absolutely love it. Once again, check out the Vice Press link in the description of this video and check out their home video collection, as they've got more exciting releases planned to come our way in 2025. So moving on now from physical media, for my birthday this year I received a collection of horror movie themed board games from my wonderful girlfriend 𝙂𝙂. We both really enjoy playing board games, and 𝙂𝙂 herself has a ever-growing collection of board games, so these really are the most perfect presents that she could have got me. First up, we have this Scream game where all the players must work together as a team to beat Ghostface. And what's really cool about this game is that you use your mobile phone to play, and Ghostface will ring at random throughout the game with threats, taunts, or give you objectives to complete, or else, you know. And second is this Texas Chainsaw Massacre Slaughterhouse board game. But unlike the Scream game, this time one player takes control of the deranged Sawyer family, and all the other players must move around the board collecting objects to escape the Sawyer farmhouse. Once you wrap your head around how to play this one, it is extremely fun, and it can also get very tense. The artwork featured on the cards and various other playing pieces in this game is just phenomenal overall, and the board is a spectacular and accurate recreation of the Sawyer's homestead. It's clear to see that this was made with a lot of love for Tobe Hooper's 1974 maniacal masterpiece, and one day I'm definitely going to get round to painting these included figures of the family, which is another fantastic inclusion. And the final game that my lovely girlfriend got for me is this adaptation of Steven Spielberg's Jaws. However, we've not got around to playing this one just yet, but it does look like it would make for a jawsome time. I can't believe I just said that, and I feel quite ashamed. Once again, this game involves one player taking up the role of Bruce the Shark, while the other players play as Brody, Hooper, and Quint in an attempt to stop the shark from terrorizing Amity Island. This game is split up in two parts, the first taking place on Amity Island itself, and then, by flipping the board, the final confrontation with Bruce takes place on the Orca. Now I just need to learn how to play it, and that would be fantastic. Right, no more shitty puns now, I promise. And thank you so much again to my lovely girlfriend 𝙂𝙂 for getting me these board games. It's definitely something a bit different for the collection and a nice break away from figures and those kind of collectibles, and they look great on the shelves as well. And besides the board games that I received from 𝙂𝙂, the company Iconic Studios kindly sent me their newest game based on Evil Dead 2, 𝙆𝙆𝙎𝙆 1%. In this game, all you have to do is roll a 0 with both dice to win. And that sounds pretty easy, but the chances are 1%. However, you can use different perks to increase those chances against your opponent. Me and 𝙂𝙂 played round after round of this game, and I've got to say, it is a really fun, fast-paced game. But what makes it so much better is the fact that it's themed around Evil Dead 2. And the artwork on all the different cards is absolutely stunning. I love the design they've gone with the box art, and the 0 dice making up the word groovy is such a nice touch. And I also picked up their Evil Dead 2 playing cards, because you know I've got to buy everything with Bruce Campbell's face slapped on the front of it. And these are also really neat with more outstanding artwork. Once again, for Iconic Studios, I'll leave a link in the description for all you deadites out there who would like to get your chainsaw hands on these. And now we're moving on to the real meat and potatoes of my 2024 pickups. And we're going to take a look at the multiple action figures I've added to the horror collection this year. Starting with this NECA Toys Scream Factory exclusive Stevie Wayne figure from John Carpenter's The Fog. Now believe it or not, this is actually the only NECA figure that I've picked up this year, which is crazy. But I'm more or less caught up with all the NECA figures that I want, with a few exceptions being the Universal Monsters Ultimates and the recently released Christopher Lee Dracula, for example. 2025, however, will definitely be the year where I add more NECA to the collection, with such releases as the upcoming Evil Dead double pack and the newly released American Werewolf in London set. And not to forget the Leatherface Ultimates that are coming our way in 2025, especially that Pretty Woman variant. But coming back to the Stevie Wayne figure, this figure is an exclusive to the Scream Factory website to go along with their 4K release of The Fog. And Stevie looks fantastic, featuring a head sculpt with a remarkable likeness to the actress Adrienne Barbeau. And as you can see, I was lucky enough to get this figure signed by Adrienne herself when I met her this year at the For the Love of Horror convention in Manchester. And Adrienne is such a lovely person, it was a real pleasure to meet her and chat with her. I also want to say a big thank you to my friend Jessica, who sent this out to me, as it was a United States exclusive, annoyingly. I appreciate it so much and it means a lot. Jess also has a fantastic horror collection, so please go over to her page, _House of Horrors_ on Instagram, and drop her a follow. And the next two figures are actually 1/6 scale collectibles that you can see stood behind me here in the display cabinet. The first is this Trick or Treat Studios Dr. Loomis figure, which was definitely one of the most anticipated figures of the year. And Trick or Treat Studios did not disappoint with this guy. The only real issues that most people found with this figure was the fact he doesn't come with a belt for some reason, and then there's the tailoring, specifically his trench coat, which is probably the most controversial aspect of the release, as the material is a bit too thin and therefore can sometimes appear slightly see-through. But for the price the figure costs, it's not really much to complain about. The head sculpt features an incredible likeness to the actor Donald Pleasance, and is without a doubt the best part of the figure, and overall he looks fantastic on display. It was definitely a long time coming for a company to release a 1/6 figure of the Good Doctor, and Trick or Treat Studios certainly did him justice. But if you want to see a more detailed review and unboxing of this guy, you can find a video over on my channel. And the final figure that I added to the collection in 2024 is the one that I was definitely most excited for. The MONDO 1/6 scale figure of RJ MacReady as seen in John Carpenter's The Thing. This was one of those figures that I bought instantly when the pre-order went live, as this is not only the first officially released 1/6 figure that we've seen of MacReady, but also an absolutely epic release in every sense of the word. This is also the limited timed edition of the figure that comes with a couple of creatures from the movie, including Stan Winston's gruesome dog thing and Rob Bottin's infamous Norris Spiderhead. So there was no way I could miss out on this particular edition of the figure. MacReady himself looks phenomenal, with a very impressive head sculpt that captures the likeness of Kurt Russell very well, especially in the facial expression, and he comes armed with his iconic flamethrower, as well as a shotgun and a pistol. The main complaints that people had with this figure is the fact that MacReady is missing his hat, his goggles, and his blue hoodie. And although it would be cool if he came with some extra accessories such as a blood test sample or a J&B whiskey bottle, it's kind of hard to complain about this release because Mondo has included a boatload of content with the figure, especially when you factor in the Norris head and the dog thing. Mac also comes with multiple hands, an additional flame piece that connects to the end of the flamethrower nozzle, and a display stand, which is an inclusion that I'm very thankful for. The tailoring on the figure is also outstanding, and although the jacket may not be perfectly accurate and can be a bit of a nuisance when it comes to posing the figure, it does the job very well. Overall, MacReady looks incredible on display along with the rest of my 1/6 scale figure collection, and I'm sure he would look extra cool in a diorama display featuring the included Thing creatures. I also have to mention that Mondo went the extra mile with the packaging for this figure. I mean, the box that MacReady comes with is a work of art in itself. The magnetically attached flap opens up to reveal artwork inspired by the Outpost 31 kennels, featuring a full 3D pop-up effect. There's no doubt that Mondo have won the award for best figure packaging this year. Once again, if you want to see a more in-depth review and an unboxing of this guy, feel free to head over to my channel where there's a video waiting for you. I think it's absolutely crazy that I've only added 3 figures in total to the collection this year, but with that said, they are pretty cool figures. What's even weirder is that I've only just realised all the figures I've purchased this year are characters from John Carpenter movies. And despite 2024 being a more slow year than usual for me when it comes to collecting figures, I guess it makes sense, as this year I've invested a lot of money into other aspects of the collection, mainly getting autographs and various collectibles signed at horror conventions. This includes this Halloween print that is now signed by a large member of the cast and crew, including Nick Castle, Tommy Lee Wallace, PJ Soles, Nancy Loomis, Charles Cyphers, John Michael Graham, Will Sandin, Sandy Johnson, and original poster artist Bob Gleason, as well as my Vice Press American Werewolf in London print that is now signed by Griffin Dunn. The Stevie Wayne figure we just looked at is now signed by Adrian Barbeau, and finally, the Comic-Con exclusive Dr. Chalice NECA figure is now signed by the Silver Fox that is the legendary Tom Atkins. So although the art prints and the Halloween 3 figure are not new additions to the collection this year, the autographs certainly are. So that brings us to the last 2 brand new additions to my horror collection in 2024. And of course I've saved the best for last. And regular viewers of this channel probably already know what 2 items I'm about to talk about. Up first is this absolutely magnificent life-size Freddy Krueger bust as seen in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors that was made by the ridiculously talented Suckface Studios. This is easily the biggest and most costly collectible that I've added to the collection this year, but this thing is an absolute work of art. And Darren at Suckface Studios videos has absolutely killed it with this guy. If you've seen my unboxing and review video of this piece, and if you haven't, I highly recommend you go and watch it. I said that this is without a doubt the best Freddy Krueger bust available on the market, and more than likely the best Freddy bust ever made so far, and I absolutely stand by that statement. This is a piece that really speaks for itself, and Darren has managed to capture the likeness of Robert Englund here to absolute perfection. From the extremely realistic glass and resin eyes to the expression on the face, it's like Robert himself is in the room. Every detail of his iconic makeup is here in this insane sculpt, and the sweater, the fedora, and the very slick black base featuring the movie logo is just the cherry on top that results in one of the most remarkable looking display pieces you could wish to own in a horror collection. This really is the display piece of my dreams. And since my unboxing video of this guy, I know that a lot of you guys have headed over to Suckface Studios and shown Darren a lot of love on his work, and also put in your own orders for a Freddy bust, and I can promise you, you will not be disappointed. Again, I'll leave a link in the description of this video to Darren's page, so if you haven't followed him yet or checked out his work, please head over there and do so. And along with my order, Darren also threw in this set of Freddy teeth that are a casting of the actual prosthetic teeth worn by Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. And what makes this even cooler is that they are mounted on top of castings of Robert Englund's real teeth. Additionally, Darren gifted this Freddy wall hanger that is made from a real production made casting of Robert Englund's head used in the production of A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. So there's two bonus items that are also new additions to the collection this year. And so that brings us to the final and most recent collectible that I've added to the horror collection in 2024. And I'd say that this piece is definitely a step above the rest. And of course, it has to be my Deadite skull, which is a real movie prop from the third installment of the Evil Dead franchise, Army of Darkness. I am still not over the fact that I actually own this in my collection, and I don't know if I ever will be. It's just mind-blowing to think that in my hands is a real skull from one of the Deadite skeletal warriors from the ending of the film. This skull in particular was made by prop builder and puppeteer Mark Hoffling, who worked under the K&B Special Effects group, and as you can probably tell by the sheer amount of fire damage on this thing, the skull was involved in some kind of fire or explosive pyrotechnic effect in the battle sequence. I acquired this skull from the son of stuntman Pete Porteous, who worked on the movie doing pyrotechnics, and now this Evil Dead relic lives with me in my collection, along with Pete's crew photo that was gifted to the film's crew when production ended in 1991. And this photo alone is a small piece of Evil Dead history in itself. If you want to know more information about this prop, please head over to the channel and check out my unboxing video, where I talk all about how I got my hands on this piece and the interesting history of the prop, of which there is a lot. But all in all, this is the holy grail of my collection pickups of 2024. And let's be honest, it's probably my greatest holy grail pickup of all time. And I guess there's only really one word that can sum it up: groovy. So that concludes my horror collection haul of 2024. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment down below, and slash that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate all the love and support on the channel, as always, and I hope you all have a very, very Merry Christmas, and an even happier New Year heading into 2025. So until next time guys, take care.